The following program is the work of broadcast students from the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland over the past week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their BCIT instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, we'll talk to reporter Joe Perkins about the proposed Hornby Street bike lane.
Parents are concerned about 5 elementary schools that might close in Vancouver. Hello and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Carly McLennan.
And I'm Josh Durako. In the past year, Vancouver has seen 2 protected bike lanes emerge. This week, the future of a 3rd lane was in front of City Council, and as Joe Perkins reports, not everyone is sold on the idea.
This week, downtown bikers may be getting the last piece of their puzzle. On Tuesday, a City Council vote could see Burrard Street's barricaded bike lane continue down Pacific and head north on Hornby Street, eventually intersecting with the already built Dunsmuir Lane. If voted through, cyclists would now have a safe entry to the downtown core from the east and the west.
The whole city is now crisscrossed by a series of cycle-friendly routes, and the Hornby Lane, the Dunsmuir Lane intersecting would be really a wonderful combination. We're becoming a cycle-friendly city.
While many cyclists would agree, barricaded bike lanes remain a relatively new concept for Vancouver. On Hornby, the new lane would replace a street southside parking, a change business owners don't want to see happen.
A lot of regulars are used to just parking on the side. They know we're here and they can jump in because it's easy to find a spot. But without that, they might go somewhere else because they don't have the ease of parking on the side of the road. Overall, I do believe it will negatively impact our business, and we are worried about that.
The bike lanes are great, but the one on Dunsmuir has been there for, 6 months or 3 months, and I don't see it being used.
But the proposed route could be the missing link this city needs. On Tuesday, we'll know if this final piece will be put in place. Joe Perkins in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Joe Perkins joins us now in the studio. So Joe, will there be a bike lane on Hornby Street or not?
Well, Joe, or Josh rather, it was a late night at City Council on Tuesday, and when it was all said and done, the vote was unanimous. The Hornby bike lane is a go. Now, as you saw in that story, not everyone is excited about the decision, and that's mostly over what's going to happen to parking. The city says that Hornby Street will have parking on each block, and an additional 160 spots will be put on Howe Street and Seymour. So while some people aren't pleased right now, it appears the city is making an effort to try to accommodate all parties involved. Josh?
Joe, we've heard today that since the vote, there's one city councillor has changed her mind. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, Josh, on Tuesday, City Councillor Suzanne Anton voted in favor of the Hornby Street bike lane. Today, she publicly announced her withdrawal from supporting the project. She says yesterday she woke up and construction had already begun. There were signs out, and it appeared to her like planning for this project had started weeks before the vote even took place. I can tell you that on Tuesday I was on Hornby, and there were painted lines on the street. It appeared that was where the barricade was going to go, and it did seem a little premature. So while there are still some questions out there, they're going to proceed with the bike lane, but hopefully we'll get some answers in the coming days.
The Vancouver School Board is proposing to close 5 elementary schools around the city next year. Reporter Daniel Rojic details the problems a community around one school may face in the future.
Just a few feet away from busy Kingsway Street in Vancouver, an important elementary school stands in the balance. Carleton Elementary is one of 5 schools on the Vancouver School Board's proposed list of possible closures. Parent Advisory Committee member Steve Baker says the VSB savings from the closures are not worth the risk.
There's no reason at this point why the schools need to close. Vancouver School Board is looking to save about $1.4 million as a result of looking at 5 closures, and that is insignificant in comparison to a potential $10 million deficit that they're going to be facing next year.
Students may be forced to attend other schools, which causes safety concerns for travel and the possibility of children getting confused. Area resident Becky Duhame hopes her children can attend Carleton one day.
I wonder what's going to happen to all the students and what they'll do with the building. Actually, it's been around for a long time. It's a landmark of this community, so I'm just interested to see what they'll do with it. It's always nice to have your kids able to walk to their neighborhood school, and that might change things for a lot of families around here.
And those families hope this sign will be in place years from now. The Carleton School in Vancouver is in a very central area, so the fact that it might be closed down is a big concern for many parents around the area. In Vancouver, I'm Daniel Rojic for BCIT Magazine.
Graduates gather at Simon Fraser University to say goodbye to the institution. SFU also introduced their new president. The pipes were out Thursday as friends and family gathered at SFU's Burnaby Mountain campus for graduation day, but it also marked the introduction for the new school president. Former BC Attorney General Andrew Petter took over this fall from Michael Stevenson.
At the request of the Board of Governors, I declare you, Andrew Petter, duly installed as the President and Vice Chancellor of the University and invest you with the authority and charge you with the responsibility pertaining to that office.
Petter held many different cabinet minister positions from 1991 to 2000 under the NDP provincial government. Coming up after the break, we will see a new kind of therapy being offered to local patients.
And a mother in Port Moody gets the surprise of a lifetime with a new house. The Olympic Village in False Creek contains hundreds of unsold residential units, and this is causing some problems in the surrounding area.
Only a few months ago, the Olympic Village in False Creek was full of buzz and excitement. Now the only buzz is from a few construction workers. Everything in the area seems to be coming soon. Downtown Vancouver realtor Steve Birkich says the area has become a ghost town on costly real estate.
Well, there's close to 500 units that's still unsold, right? The properties are still up in the higher price ranges, right? So it makes it unaffordable for Vancouver residents to buy into this area. Right? Every day that these units sit vacant, there's maintenance costs, security costs, because there's not much going on down here. There's not many people down here, so they've got to look after the area and stuff. I heard that it's costing the city about $300,000 a month.
The only people who seem to be in the area are those just passing by. Irish tourist Joe Kennedy was surprised to see how empty the area really was.
At the moment it seems pretty quiet, not a lot going on to go around, which is just a lot of residential apartment blocks where no one seems to be living in. Having said that, it's pretty well designed and it looks nice, it's a good view of the city, so I'm sure it could be utilised for the future. But at the moment it's pretty dead, yeah.
The waterfront properties are becoming a major financial concern in the aftermath of the Winter Games. The fact that taxpayers are footing the bill for the Olympic Village is a big problem with a lot of Vancouver residents. In Vancouver, I'm Daniel Rojic for BCIT Magazine.